what's pantsing? Pantsing is where you just write creatively and you just make it kind of up as you go along, and the characters speak for themselves, and the kind of creative juices go flowing. Whereas plotting is where you've already decided in advance what's going to happen. Your characters toe the line, you get your setups, you get your payoffs in, everything is kind of meticulously drawn out beforehand, and once you've made the dots, then you join them all together, and that's the creative process there. And of course ideas come out at that stage. For me, I started off with a bit of both. I plotted it very, very kind of gently, using something called Save the Cat system of structure, which is actually generally for movies, and which I'll talk about in another podcast. And then once I created that plan, then I started writing creatively, which is in some ways is a little bit naive, because when you just write and hope everything will come out in the wash, that's kind of great, and it comes up with some wonderful ideas. But it also means that the editing process takes an age afterwards. And I think I started in January 2018 with a plot and an outline, and I wrote it by about March, and I was pretty happy with that first draft. And then I sent it out to a few people, got a bit of feedback, and started rethinking it, rereading it, editing it, and then didn't like the motivations of the main character, then wanted to go back to it, had other ideas, wanted to go back to it again, and now we're in the start of November 2018, and now I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone. I think it was a process I had to go through with this particular story. Part of me thinks if I'd have plotted it out a little bit more carefully in the beginning, I would have saved a lot of time, but also I don't think I would have had the richness which I've developed by going through the kind of painful process of pantsing. So my recommendation, having done this, is that it's difficult and it's time consuming, but the creative pantsing side of writing is essential to get those kind of new, fresh ideas, those imaginative sparks of creativity, those twists which you didn't expect, and therefore nobody else expects either. And I think it's that which gives the piece of work its real creative verve and freshness. But at the same time, then once you've pantsed your way through to the first draft, then going back over, creating your setups and your payoffs, which I'll talk about in another video, as well as really making sure that the emotional arc is being, you've given justice to the emotional arc throughout the whole book, and that the structure is tight and solid, and there are no chapters of fluff and waffle, which I find that a lot of new writers, including myself, do. We overwrite because the writing process is kind of trying to find that idea, and you find an entire half of a chapter is just trying to get to the point of the chapter. And it's only when you read it back afterwards you think, all of that could go, but the process was vital, because now I've discovered the meaning and the purpose of that particular scene or chapter. But then I have to go back, hone it, and almost curate it after the fact.